All right, this week we're going to be breaking down what happened last week as more details have come out about Soto going to the Mets, the Yankees' reaction to that, and Belichick going to UNC. I'll also be making my official picks in the first round of the college football playoffs. I realized I did not do that last week. And Luigi Mangione was charged with murder as an act of terrorism on Tuesday. The Bills might be charged with the same thing on Sunday after the Patriots game. Speaking of extremists, I said the word extremely way too much in the last episode, so let's try to avoid that in episode 132 of Hoagies and Pierogis.
Live from Central Pennsylvania with your host Ian DiCarlo, this is Hoagies and Pierogis.
The Ski Stash! The Ski Stash!
Welcome to the Big Ten.
Patriots go drink, man. Let's go!
All right, 99 days till opening day. Well, 98 when this comes out. All right, so let's go over this. A little wrinkle in Soto's contract breakdown between the Yankees and the Mets came out. So this is from Bill Madden in the New York Daily News. It was at this point when they were informed that Soto's mother, Belkis Pacheco, who had become the driving force in the negotiations, insisted that the Yankees throw in a suite at Yankee Stadium for the entire 15 years of the contract. That was when Hal Steinbrenner said something to the effect, "We're going to pay you $760 million and you can't afford to pay for your own suite? We don't give away suites," which at Yankee Stadium ranged from $600,000 to $1 million, while adding that Aaron Judge, Derek Jeter, and CC Sabathia all had suites at Yankee Stadium, which they paid for themselves, as well as for premier seats in the legend section behind home plate. All right, that's pretty fucking cheap of you. You're going to really make Derek Jeter, CC Sabathia, and Aaron Judge pay for their own suites? Come on. And then Cohen, on the other hand, had no problem with any added perks Soto and his family threw at him, and there were plenty. Besides a suite at Citi Field for 15 years, he also threw in 22, for Soto's number, Delta Club premium seats, security people for both him and his entire family, home and away, and it is said, but not confirmed, the family services clause in the contract includes charter flights for his family to road games and a clothes allowance for his mom. What? Cohen probably doesn't care, but all these perks are included in the overall value of contract for luxury tax purposes, and when it's all said and done, Soto's AAV will be more likely around $55 million, not $51 million. I'm told Rob Manfred's salary police are all over this contract. Now, that's a little bit ridiculous to add in, $4 million, it seems here, for flights and clothes for your mom. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. You know what? Hal Steinbrenner is right. When you're getting paid $760 million, you shouldn't have things just handed to you. And his actual AAV, like what he's actually getting paid per year on the books, is something around like $43 million for the first 5 years because of the signing bonus. The signing bonus took away some of the overall yearly money from that contract. So yeah, Cohen must want this bad because he's just throwing away money at this point. That is just a ridiculous amount of money to spend, and I would not spend a penny over what I had to get Soto. I cannot believe Jeter had to pay for his own suite. So like I said last week, and I just touched on it really quick, the Pirates traded for Spencer Horwitz. Howitzer cannon, it's close enough because it goes with the cruise missile. Forgot to add the cruise missile, which was an important part of that. So yes, they trade for Spencer Horwitz, who had just been traded to the Guardians that same day, for Luis Ortiz, Michael Kennedy, and Josh Hartle. I think that might have been a little bit much to give up. There's not really a huge amount of power upside. Horowitz is already 27, so I know that there is such thing as late bloomers, but 27 going on 28 is kind of late for anything else to happen. He's a great on-base player, and last year he slashed 265, 357, 433 with 12 home runs and 40 RBIs across 97 games. So while this is, their solution going forward for first base, is it that much of an improvement? Well, yes, because he's projected to have a 119 weighted runs created plus next year, which would be number one on the team, and I believe he's just right ahead of Brian Reynolds, who is projected at 116. He doesn't chase a lot. He has a strong walk rate. It also helps that the Pirates brought over Matt Haig from the Blue Jays, who was his hitting coach while he was there, all throughout the minor leagues and last year in the major leagues. So I think his transition to the Pirates might be a little bit smoother in that regard. So he'll have someone here who is actually helping him along the way in Toronto. I think that is great for his development. Saying all that, maybe there will be a little bit of uptick in power production from him. Honestly, everyone that's complaining about this move and was like, oh, we didn't get Pete Alonso. Well, you're probably never going to get Pete Alonso. Probably was never even in the talks with Pirates. The Yankees actually want to go after him, which we'll get into the Yankees here in a second. But the news about the Pirates, that trade was great, but then it came out almost immediately that there were talks about trading Mitch Keller and Jared Jones. Probably not both of them, but one of the two, and they were apparently very open to the idea of it. You got to give up stuff to get stuff. But you just traded away Luis Ortiz, who, like I said, ate a lot of innings over the past couple years. Yeah, the pitching depth can go away like that. It can go away in an instant, in the blink of an eye. I really would not feel comfortable giving up Jones or Keller. Keller, because he's just been a workhorse, and he deserved that contract. And him signing that contract was partly to avoid having these trade talks about him so early on. It's ridiculous that they've even entertained the thought, honestly. Until Ashcraft and Harrington are up, that's really not smart to do. All right, we have a huge trade in the AL East. And no, it's not Cody Bellinger to the Yankees, although that did happen. Garrett Crochet to the Red Sox. Holy shit, I did not see this move at all. And it comes like exactly, I think, 7 or 8 years after they traded for Sale from the White Sox. So everyone's like, oh my God, it's happening. He's going to do so well in Boston. They're going to win another World Series. I don't know about that because they just gave up a lot for Garrett Crochet, who's only pitched like 200 innings over 3 seasons. They gave up Kyle Teal, who is the number 25 prospect overall, Brandon Montgomery, who is the number 54 prospect overall, Chase Mydrith, who is Boston's number 11 prospect, and then Wilkman Gonzalez, who is Boston's number 14 prospect. So I tried to look at their top 30 overall. I didn't know what Teal and Brady Montgomery were ranked in just Boston's, but I have to assume that they were number 1 and 2. So the number 1, 2, 11, and 14 prospects go to the White Sox. For Garrett Crochet, who is often injured, he's not the workhorse that Sale was coming from the White Sox. So this is very cautionary. You got to be really careful. I think they're probably going to limit his innings as much as they can next year. But who knows? They limited his innings last year and he still got hurt. Good luck, Boston. You got rid of a lot of prospects for that. All right, let's get into the Yankees. Like I said last week, the Yankees could now get rid of Nestor Cortez after they signed Max Fried. And they traded peanuts for a diamond. Nasty Nestor gets sent to Milwaukee along with second base prospect Caleb Durbin, who's just a worse Nick Madrigal, and closer Devin Williams is coming to New York. Holy shit, they gave up nothing for this. What the fuck? What a great trade for the Yankees. Oh my God. Oh, and to add on to that, they just completed a trade with the Cubs for Cody Bellinger, like I said, and they only had to get rid of reliever Cody Poteet, who is like a back-end starter at best. And they also get $5 million in the deal to pay some of Cody Bellinger's $52.5 million remaining on his contract. So this is nothing but a win for the Yankees. Holy shit. Judge can move back to right field. Bellinger is a fine center field defender. And even, what are they going to do at first base? Bellinger's probably going to be their main first baseman since they got rid of Rizzo. They would not have signed Fried or traded for Williams and Bellinger if they got Soto. This is a blessing in disguise for the Yankees, who would have been the same exact team as they were last year, with questions for the rotation and bullpen. Two huge issues are now solved, even without getting Soto. I wouldn't be surprised if they're pushing hard for Teoscar Hernandez, just so Bellinger can stay at first base. I bet they're not too mad about losing Soto now. All right, that's it for baseball for now. Let's get into college football here. Let's touch on Bill Belichick's contract a little bit more with UNC. He says he didn't come just to leave, but that's almost exactly what he's doing with the succession plan in place. I mean, the whole point of him taking this job was so that his son could have a job next. That's literally the reason he took the job, so that he could leave. The buyout of his contract after June 1st, 2025, goes from $10 million to $1 million. This is pretty big. I did misread it and think that it said June 2026, so that he could leave after 1 year. I'd say, hey, start summer practices, and I don't really know if you could transfer in the summer before the season begins, or, if that window is already closed come June 1st. But it would be hilarious if Belichick got one of the best recruiting classes in the country and then just dipped. Said, see you later. Adios. I did my job. Steve, good luck. Have at it. And you know what? This shouldn't be shocking. The 400-page Bible is not real. Fuck you, Ollie. Belichick said, you think I'd be going around just giving that to people? And that makes total sense. Why would Belichick ever just go out handing that to teams? That would be stupid. I guess it's a 5-year contract, and he's getting paid a base of $1 million per year with $9 million in supplemental income per year, whatever that means. It's his prostitute budget. Before accepting the job at UNC, Belichick did inquire about the Jets job, and I would have loved to see that happen. That would have been even better than him taking the UNC job. It would have made much more sense, let's be honest. Him being with Aaron Rodgers, I'm sure Aaron Rodgers would want to stay one more year. That would be pretty cool to see. Oh, and last week I said that the Aaron Rodgers documentary debuted last Friday on the 14th. No, it was actually yesterday, the 17th, on Tuesday, so I am going to have to watch that. My bad. With playoffs coming up, I'm really not looking forward to no football. Saturday felt awful with barely anything on. The only game that was on, the only FBS game that was on was Army-Navy. Navy jumped out to a quick 14-0 lead and never looked back. After a whiff tackle from Army led to a 52-yard touchdown, putting them up 21-10, and then a converted fake punt was basically the dagger, resulting in Navy going up 28-13. Navy won this one 31-13 in the 125th meeting of the two. And this was the first time that either team scored over 20 points in 5 years, and the first time the game has gone over 40 points total since 2013 when Navy beat Army 34-7. The only other thing on Saturday was the Heisman Trophy presentation, and I think it was quite obvious that Travis Hunter was going to win. Yes, Genty broke records and proved that he could do it against better competition, but we have really not seen a true two-way player like Travis Hunter. Not a jack-of-all-trades, gadget-type player, not a cornerback / punt returner that had 21 receptions, 370 yards, and 3 touchdowns in his 3-year college career. Charles Woodson, a player who excels at 2 defined positions that are pivotal to the team. That is what Travis Hunter did this year. Hunter is more than deserving and will be a great target for Drake May next year. It was very emotional watching Hunter's speech from his dad's perspective. At first, I thought he was celebrating in a trap house, but I guess he's in a halfway house because he just got out of prison. So I am really happy for him that he got to watch it. That was really cool. And on top of this all, Dion says on Pac-Man Jones' podcast that he wants to stay in Buffalo.
Can we just set the record straight since I'm breaking coachings right now? I'm like the Black Adam Scheffler, you know that, right?
That's a good one. That's a good one. I love where I am. I'm elated where I am. I'm happy where I am. I can't wait to see what the future beholds with where I am. And I love Boulder, Colorado. So I have every intention, every plan in the world to be coaching for the Colorado Buffs from here on. I want to finish here. I want to put the flag. I want my names on the mountains out there. I want to put my flag down in Colorado.
I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to coach the Raiders or Cowboys either. All right, playoffs start this weekend, and like I said, I never officially picked these games last week. I think I was almost going into it, but then the game that I never went over was Indiana and Notre Dame. So Let's go over that. That's the first game up on Friday night. As much as I love this Indiana team, and as much as I love to hate on Notre Dame, this might be Notre Dame's best shot at making a run in the playoffs. They have been blowing opponents out. The only question I have, has Notre Dame faced an offense this good? You know what? Have they even faced a defense this good? Texas A&M looked lost against them in week 1 and only put up 13. Louisville only scored 24 on them, and USC put up 35 against them in their last week. So I'm not really sure how Notre Dame's defense is going to handle Indiana's offense. That's going to be the main thing that I'm looking at in the game. Maybe Louisville's offense is the closest to Indiana's, but they were always terribly executed, and Louisville was a horrible team when it come to clutching out games. But the Fighting Irish really do have God on their side until they go up against Georgia or Penn State. So I'm going with Notre Dame over Indiana. The NIU game is so far in the past that, you know what, at this point, I really don't think it matters. Everyone's like, oh, well, Notre Dame's going to suck. They lost against NIU. They're going to get blown out by Georgia. I don't know about that. They've been handling everyone pretty well so far since then. All right. First game up on Saturday is SMU at Penn State. And I caved. I got my tickets to go to the game. Holy shit. It's going to be really fun. I'm sure we're going to have some great clips. I'm obviously taking Penn State in this one. There should be no question about it. On paper, this is the least competitive matchup of round 1. But since I'm going, I just know that some bullshit is going to happen. And it's going to be cold. Oh my God. It's going to be a high of 27 at 12 o'clock, partly cloudy, and it is supposed to snow in the morning, so we'll see if there's anything on the ground. But some bad news on Sunday night, this past Sunday. Bo Prabula is entering the transfer portal and will forego Penn State's playoff run. This really sucks, but yeah, at first I was blaming Prabula, but I did not realize that the window for transfer closed this week before the playoff games even started. So why? I don't understand not giving players a chance to play in the postseason games before making the decision to have to transfer. That's ridiculous. He is leaving because, good news for Penn State, Aller is staying in 2025. Get him some wide receivers, and then we can talk about next year because Tyler Warren is going to be leaving. But hey, again, on the good news front, Kyron Hudson has confirmed that he is transferring from USC to Penn State. Oh my God, there's your number 1 wide receiver, baby. Merry Christmas. Can you play in the playoff game this week against SMU? No, he cannot. Okay, so yeah, Penn State should win big. All right, in the next game, I have Texas over Clemson that I'll have to watch in the car on the way home from State College. It does worry me that Clemson almost blew that game against SMU. I mean, it was 31-14 going into the fourth quarter. If Texas can stop themselves from committing so many penalties, they should be fine. The defense should be able to stop Cade Klubnik, who actually beat Quinn Ewers in the 2020 6A Texas High School State Championship game. That is a mouthful. And to cap off round 1, we have Tennessee at Ohio State. Tennessee's defense has been amazing, allowing just under 14 points a game, but this is a must-win for Ohio State. I really don't know what happened in that Michigan game other than just the play calling was horrible. They really just let Michigan get in their heads. But if Amaliava is out here throwing his fastballs, it might be over quick for Ohio State. Hopefully whoever wins comes out of this pretty unscathed so that they can give Oregon a good game. So I am going with Ohio State. So Notre Dame, Penn State, Texas, Ohio State. I think that Notre Dame-Indiana game will be close. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. Penn State-SMU. Penn State should be in the 30s. SMU probably low 20s. This is the hardest one because if Texas is sloppy, Clemson is going to win. You cannot afford to make mistakes against this Dabo Swinney-led team against a head coach who has been there before against the SEC in the postseason. So I do think Texas wins this game. High 20s to Clemson mid 20s. It's going to be close. And then Ohio State, Tennessee, I'm going to say Ohio State mid 20s, Tennessee low 20s. Another close game and another good game. All right, so that would put Notre Dame up against Georgia, Penn State up against Boise State, Texas against Arizona State, which I think is probably the best matchup in round 2. And then that would put Ohio State against Oregon. A chance for redemption for Ohio State. All right, flying through this today. I did not record on Tuesday night, so I'm recording and editing tonight. Fuck me. Let's go on to the NFL. Xavier Leggett eats raccoon and records Christmas cards.
What's your hottest food take? So, like, is there something weird that you like to eat or something you don't like to eat that you can never eat that most people would eat? You know, like, what's something in the food industry that you that you have a weird opinion on?
Well, y'all probably seen that video when I tell them folks I eat raccoon.
You what?
I eat raccoon.
I didn't see that.
I say, no, what do you mean raccoon? Like the raccoon?
Like a raccoon that you see in the trash can.
Where do you even eat that at? Where do you even get that?
I hunt it, I kill it, I skin them, cook them, eat them, all that.
So when's the last time you had a raccoon?
Thanksgiving.
So you went and got the Thanksgiving, you killed the raccoon, or you had like you
Now
found
my cousins, all my people them hunting and all that. So my cousins them they killed it. They called me like, yeah, we got that coon. We
got that coon.
Yeah.
That sounds crazy. We got that coon.
Yeah. So, wait, what does it taste like?
It got its own taste. You know, everybody try to say stuff taste like cheese.
Uh-huh.
But that coon got its own taste though.
That coon.
Interesting. I never heard that. That's a first. Eating a raccoon. What else you eat? That's weird.
I eat squirrel.
Squirrel. I've heard of that. People eat squirrel.
Okay.
I eat rabbit.
Rabbit. Now you just eat little shit. You just like extraordinary shit in the forest and shit. This nigga just like squirrels, rabbits.
Just like the little shit that runs around.
Y'all boy come to my city and try all this stuff. I'm telling y'all gonna like it.
Okay, what city is that?
Muller, South Carolina.
Hi everybody. I found out cars could talk, and knowing that people like to hear me talk, I figured I'd put my voice inside this card and tell you happy holiday. My favorite part is the food: ham, deep fried turkey, collard greens, dressing, macaroni and cheese, green bean, candy yam, cranberry sauce, deviled egg, red velvet cake, and gingerbread. Every year I make a gingerbread man and build them a cute little gingerbread house so they can have a cute little gingerbread life. Do gingerbread things like getting eaten. They're scrumptious, don't you think? Anyway, happy holidays from me and Fanatic.
I don't think I'm not too much of a fan of individual players. Obviously Drake May, but he's on the Patriots. So obviously I'm going to be a fan of the players of the team that I'm a fan of. I think Xavier Leggett's like the only player that I'm a fan of outside of the Patriots. All right, we had round 1 of the fantasy football playoffs, and I didn't know if it was 2 rounds or 1 round in this first matchup that I had against Reagan, the same person that blew me out last week, 166-113. Oh, baby, I got my revenge this week, and she is out of the playoffs. I won 159-102, something like that, something crazy. I blew her out. I got my revenge. It all started on Thursday night in a great situation for me. She had Kyron Williams and George Kittle up first on Thursday night, and there were 7 punts in the first quarter. That was a great start. This is what every Thursday night game felt like it used to be. It was almost nostalgic, and I felt really good because there were no touchdowns scored. Kyron Williams was held to 108 yards on 29 carries with 2 catches for 4 yards for a total of 13.2 points. That's pretty low for him. And then Kittle was kept in check, only reeling in 4 of his 7 targets for 61 yards. And 4.3 of those 10.1 points came from a 33-yard catch in the first drive. So I was freaking out a little bit at that point, but the rain came in clutch. Let's go. So then I did not have anyone until this Ravens-Giants game on Sunday at 1 o'clock. And I was freaking out a little bit in the first quarter. I did not know what the hell the Ravens were doing, but it was almost like they were scared of the Giants. They did not go for it on 4th and 1 from from the 50-yard line with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, who Derrick Henry had a horrible game. He only had 67 yards rushing. That's really bad and not what fantasy owners wanted to see in the first week of fantasy playoffs. And I'll tell you, Lamar must have been traumatized from seeing Derrick Henry's butt because he's out here holding up his pants when he does not have to.
All right, so look, they was asking me that, so I'm like, I felt like wind was touching my butt, so I was trying to keep my tights up for real. I feel like the tights just like got a little loose or something. I don't know. So I was like just trying to keep my pants up, but that's all it was. It was too cold out there. Like, what?
And so after the first quarter, there was just an explosion from Lamar. He had one of his classics, "Oh, I'm not playing at home. It's still 1 o'clock, so I'll get off to a slow start. But I'm not at home, so I'm going to throw for 290 yards and 5 touchdowns, adding on 65 yards rushing." 39 points from Lamar. Yeah, you'll love to see it. That was great. And then another news from this game. The Ravens mutually agreed to excuse Deontay Johnson from team activities this week after he was suspended for not wanting to enter the Eagles game. What is up with players not wanting to go into games? But yeah, that's rough after being traded to a contender, and then the team that you got traded from immediately gets better. Ravens won that game 35-14 and had zero issues stopping the Giants. Okay, the Jets made their way down to the Jaguars, and Mac Jones did his best impression of Drake May early on, running for the first down with this little spin move to finish it off. And holy shit, Brian Thomas Jr. was actually doing something in the first half. It really helps when there are literally no other good pass catchers available on the team. Evan Ingram was out this week for him. And I'll tell you what, I think BTJ was my fantasy MVP. He was certainly the rookie of the year. And in this game, 10 catches, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns, good for 32.5 points. Oh, let's go. Woo! The Jets, however, won this one 32-25 on a monster game from Devontae Adams, who I had on my bench in my work league. And I also had Brian Thomas Jr. on my bench in my work league for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking of, but I did still win the game by 4 points. All right, Cowboys-Panthers. I know that the Panthers were favorites, but this was a pretty bad matchup for them. The Cowboys defense put up a good fight against the Bengals and were pretty unlucky to lose that game. Let's be honest. This was Rico Dowdle's third straight 100-yard rushing game, and he's the first undrafted running back to do that since Arian Foster in 2014. The Cowboys took care of business in Carolina 30-14. All right, other 1 o'clock games. The Chiefs beat the Browns 21-7, in which Mahomes actually had a high ankle sprain, but he was a full participant at practice on Tuesday and today, Wednesday. So, like I said a couple weeks ago, he has Terminator ankles. It's ridiculous. Bengals beat the Titans 37-27, and actually, Jamar Chase was only held to 9 catches for 94 yards, which also really helped me because Reagan had him as well. When you hold Jamar Chase to 18.4 points, it's a pretty good day for you. Titans still lost that game, and Mason Rudolph's going to be starting for him next week. Don't know why he wasn't starting since Will Levis was hurt, and Mason Rudolph got a chance to start and won his games. So that was confusing. But, yeah, Bengals still holding in there for a playoff spot. Holy shit. Brian Callahan went on a full-blown rant after being asked about the idea of his team being soft here.
I mean, you really want to get me going today? Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I think it's complete and total bullshit, if you want my honest opinion. These guys are tough fuckers, man. They go after it every day. They play hard as hell. And there's at no point have we ever put on tape at any point this season that this is a soft football team. Like, I can't even wrap my mind around how that would even be a conversation. I mean, just because we don't win games doesn't mean we're soft. These guys play their ass off. They play hard. They play physical. You can ask any team that plays against us that when they come off the field, they know they played us. Yeah, that makes me relatively angry that would be some presumption. That means you just don't watch the shit. You know, you don't do anything about it. That you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're looking at. So I won't stand for. I'm not going to stand for anybody calling this football team soft. I think that's bullshit. So if there's opinions out there that feel that way, then they don't know anything about NFL football. So I'd like you to walk in there and call one of these guys soft and see what happens. You know, this is not a soft football team at all, mentally or physically. And I think one of the things mentally that's really been impressive about the team is that the way that they keep fighting through the way that this season has gone. They've not shown at any point that they're not up to the task. They come out every day and work. They have. I mean, I'm really. You're gonna really get me going now. I mean, these guys come out here and they do everything possible to win games. And if there's any assumption anywhere that's outside of this building, again, we don't focus on all those things, but there's no possible explanation to say that this team is soft any way, shape, or form, mentally or physically. And the way that they go about their work it's insulting to me, to them, to everyone that works here. So I'm not that no chance ever in hell would I ever admit that to be the case, and neither would anybody in this locker room. So you can kind of shove that one right up your ass, to be honest. So
I said it was cold in Washington.
Commanders beat the Saints 20-19 and almost lost this game on it was a horrible game on a Spencer Rattler last second touchdown, but they did not get the 2-point conversion and lost 20-19. And I'll tell you what, Rattler looking better than Caleb Williams. All right, last two 1 o'clock games. Texans beat the Dolphins 20-12. And then the Broncos beat the Colts 31-13. The Broncos scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. Something happened with Jonathan Taylor there, but I really do not care about the Colts enough to look and see what it was. Okay, 4 o'clock games. Let's start with the Bills at the Lions here. The Lions were extremely lucky that this game wasn't in Buffalo because it was incredibly windy and snowy up there. But Jesus, it didn't seem to matter as Buffalo went up 14-0. Pretty early on Josh Allen's second rushing touchdown of the day already. I don't know if Allen has put himself at the front of the MVP conversation or not, especially with Lamar playing the way he did against the Giants. But with 2 games against the Patriots to go, I might put money on a Josh Allen MVP right now. The Bills were trying to pull away the whole game, but the Lions were being scrappy and staying too close for the Bills to take their foot off the gas. It was 38-28 Bills with 12 minutes left. And what did the Lions decide to do? They decide to have an onside kick. What are you doing? Dumb. So dumb. The Bills got it all the way down to the 10-yard line and scored on the next play. So the game was immediately out of reach. It was 45-28 in the blink of an eye when it was just 38-28. And I tell you what, Josh Allen is ridiculous. If this would have counted, I would say Josh Allen MVP hands down, because that two-handed chest pass would have been a highlight that we would have seen for years since he pulled a Curry and put his hands up like it was a touchdown before the receiver even caught it, and he wasn't even looking. It got called back on a stupid holding call, though. The Bills did win this game 48-42, and the Lions have now won a game in which Goff has thrown 5 interceptions and lost a game in which Goff has thrown 5 touchdowns. What is going on? Some more unfortunate news came out of this game for the Lions. So many goddamn injuries. David Montgomery sprained his MCL and is out for the rest of the season. He's going to be getting surgery on it. First, the defense. Now the offense is being decimated by injuries. Man, the Lions are really going to be lucky to make it past the first round because they're going to be allowing at least 35 points per game. This is going to be bad. All right, next up was the Battle of Pennsylvania, and it was looking pretty bad for the Steelers early on. The Steelers just could not stop A.J. Brown whatsoever. It was going to be a long day for them, and they could tell. 4 catches with 48 yards and a touchdown on the first drive for him. The Eagles fumbled the ball and forced the Steelers to punt, and then DeJean gave it right back to the Steelers after muffing the punt. And that was the only time that the Steelers were even close to the end zone in that first quarter. The Eagles outgained them 148 yards to 2. Yes, 2 yards for the Steelers in the first quarter. They were lucky to get that fumble that resulted in a field goal. And the Steelers got into a fight after one of their players pushed an Eagles player way out of the end zone, 20 yards away from the play, just completely pushed him into the wall and was just shoving him and would not stop. Idiot. Absolute idiot. They were, like I said, lucky to get that field goal. The Steelers were trying to stay in this game, and it was 27-13 with 10 and a half minutes left to go. But they never had a chance to get the ball back. The Eagles held onto the ball the full 10 and a half minutes. How do you do that? That is damn impressive from them. The Steelers were just overmatched on the line, and they could not stop the run at all. And when they were about to stop the run, play action, A.J. Brown, it was too easy. They really are not dynamic, the Steelers, without George Pickens. They need him back for the playoffs, and they need him bad. Ooh, bad news on Pickens. He did not practice today. So that's something to watch out for. They're playing the Ravens again this week. All right. Last 4:25 game of Sunday. Patriots at the Cardinals. Ooh. Oh, they didn't even do that bad. This was just all-around suckage from the rest of the team, except for Gonzo, who also had a great game. All of this coming off a bye week as well, which leads into Mike Reese's comments. The most glaring thing that came from him was, one of the best parts about football is that you most often get out of it what you put into it. So after watching the Patriots' uninspiring 30-17 loss to the Cardinals in Arizona and then rewatching the game upon returning home, I came away with this thought. The Patriots got what they deserved. It was an unacceptable performance for a team coming off a bye, and there should be genuine soul-searching at all levels of the organization for how a team with the Patriots logo on the helmet could allow that to happen. And that is the most damning thing that Mike Reese will ever say in regards to firing Mayo this season. Mayo does not know what he's doing, and this most recent walk back from him confirms that. Mayo, when asked if he considered running Drake May near the goal line, Mayo's response was, "You said it, I didn't." Which everyone's like, oh, he's taking a shot at Alex Van Pelt. Like, why? You know, it's all on the offensive coordinator. It had nothing to do with me. But then you have to look at what he said immediately following that. He did put it on himself that he did not make that call. And my honest belief is that he meant to say, you said it, I didn't do it. And he just didn't add on the last two words, which I think would have made a huge difference. Let's be honest. He's not the most well-spoken person in the room at any given time. If this was a motivational hire, the only thing Mayo is doing is motivating Kraft to move on from him after 1 year. This is very bad. But let's not take AVP off the hook. May and Booty were critical of him as well after the game. When all it takes is the players complaining to change the play calling, something is wrong. A la Marcus Jones asking for the ball a little bit more. Given he's only gotten 5 offensive snaps since then and only carried the ball once, it is either AVP's job to come up with this on his own or for Mayo to tell him to be better in private. And maybe Mayo doesn't have the coaching experience, forget head coaching, to readily identify these issues and bring them to his coordinators. But this seems like a group project with no one talking to each other and then blaming everyone else but themselves when the project turns out just all discombobulated. There is zero communication. Everyone is stashed away in their own office wondering how to fix things rather than getting together and fixing things. No one is on the same page at all. It is wild that the only person that I want the Pats to keep around at this point is AVP because I don't want 1 million offensive coordinators while May is here. Like I said, the one positive about AVP is that he does listen to the players. Marcus Jones getting more involvement has been good for the offense so far. And keeping a higher tempo when things are rolling shouldn't be too much of an issue against a Bills team that allowed 86 points in their last 2 games. So maybe he will pick it up a little bit. The play calling has been way too conservative until they're getting blown out down 20 points. And then when it's, a chance for a 2-point conversion to put the game, instead of 20 points out of reach, it's now 18 points. AVP looks like a genius. But we really seem to be barreling toward Mayo being fired after the season, or at least demoted. Tom Curran reported that Vrabel is actually interested in coming back and coaching. I could see him being the head coach with Mayo being demoted to the assistant head coach. I really think that they have to do something. If they're not going to fire him, they have to demote him. It's been really bad. Like I said, Cardinals won 30-17. And that number 3 pick is getting solidified. Let's go. Oh, the other 425 game was the Buccaneers of the Chargers. But it was a complete blowout for the Buccaneers, 40-17, so I did not care at all. Sunday night game was the Packers against the Seahawks. Packers won 30-13. Jordan Love had a great game, 20 for 27, 229, 2 touchdowns. Jacobs had a good game, 94 yards and a touchdown. This Green Bay team is very solid. And the NFC North is just solid all around, except for the Bears, who got pummeled by the Vikings, 30-12. Caleb Williams sucks. That's all I can say there. That's 8 straight losses for the Bears, while the Vikings have now won 7 straight games. All right, and our other Monday night game, Falcons at the Raiders. Holy shit, this game was so fucking bad. That was Kirk's first touchdown pass since week 9. It is week 15. Kirk, what are you doing? All right, so immediately after the game, Raheem Morris seemed less committed than ever to Kirk starting going forward, saying, we have to go through the process. Our job is to win as many games as we can this season. We need to play better at that position. And almost immediately before I went to bed, Michael Penix is confirmed starting against the Giants. Let's go. Huge game incoming for Bijan. Oh, I need it, especially because it's the championship next week. Let's go. And boy, was I right to not start Jacoby Myers. Holy shit. Desmond Ridder is terrible. Yes, Caleb Williams is terrible, but Desmond Ridder is just I don't even know. He's not even a glorified running back. He can't throw the ball at all. He can't scramble. He can't make good decisions. He can't get the ball to Brock Bowers, which, how? On to the championship game against Corey. Oh, my God. Oh, completely forgot to do that. Let's go over Week 16's games. God damn it. All right, so first up, we got the Broncos-Chargers on Thursday night here. I think the Chargers should win that game, but who knows? Broncos are on a roll right now, but they were looking pretty bad against the Colts in the first half. On Saturday, I am not going to be watching these games at all. These teams only play on Saturday because all four of these teams play on Wednesday, Christmas Day. We got the Texans at the Chiefs and then the Steelers at the Ravens. Do not care about that at all. The Texans-Chiefs is going to be on while I'm at the Penn State game anyway, and then the Steelers-Ravens is going to be on during Texas-Clemson, so I'm not going to be concerned about that. Giants-Falcons, like I said, cannot wait for Bijan to eat them up. Lions at the Bears, Browns-Bengals, Titans-Colts, Rams-Jets, Eagles-Commanders, that should be a good game. Cardinals-Panthers, Vikings-Seahawks, the Patriots are at the Bills. That's going to suck. And the Bills are wearing uniforms that look exactly like the Patriots throwbacks. What's that all about? Vikings, Seahawks, Jags, Raiders, 49ers, Dolphins, and then Sunday night's Buccaneers, Cowboys. And then Monday is Saints, Packers. What an odd Sunday night game, Buccaneers, Cowboys. There are so many better, well, not so many better games. We could have put Eagles, Commanders on Sunday night. Hell, Browns, Bengals on Sunday night would have been better. Oh well. Last random thing. I don't know if you guys watch Kill Tony or not, but Sketch was on Kill Tony. It was such a weird conversion of video games, sports, and comedy. I was like, what is going on here? This does not make any sense. He was funny when he, spoke up a little bit, but he predictably did not say much the entire episode. Dave Landau was on with him, and Dave Landau was great. He was hilarious. Great episode of Kill Tony overall. All right, let's check Twitter here real quick before we wrap things up. Michael Penix was at Costco when he got the call that he'd be starting. Oh, shit. Nolan Arenado is unwilling to waive his no-trade clause to join the Houston Astros. I guess they tried to trade him to the Astros since they're losing Bregman. It says here that discussions will continue, and there is still a possibility Nolan Arenado ends up with the Astros. Murder hornets are wiped out in the U.S., officials say. Woohoo! But, speaking of next week, so for Christmas and New Year's fall on Wednesday this year. So that's usually my editing day. So the schedule's going to get a little bit funky here. But don't worry, you'll still get your weekly batch of Hoagies and Pierogis. Do not worry about that one little bit. Might be out on that Wednesday, might be out on that Friday. I do want to go over the New Year's Eve and New Year's Day games, so we're going to have to see what's going on there. Probably going to have to wait till Thursday to record that, or maybe Wednesday night. I don't know. We'll see when it gets closer to that time. But I think that's it, everybody. Make sure to leave a like and comment on each video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hoagies and Pierogis is available on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to podcasts. And follow us on TikTok and Instagram for clips throughout the week. And we'll leave you with this. Munch.
Live from Central Pennsylvania with your host, Ian DiCarlo, this is Hoagies and Pierogis.
The Ski Stash! The Ski Stash!
Welcome to the Big Ten.
Patriots go Drake Bay, let's go!